Welcome once again to GodOku Tech, and today I'm starting a new segment or a new series on this channel called Tech and Route. And with this series, I'll be basically talking about tech or doing my tech videos whilst I'm on my way to wherever I'm going. And today our subject is the Xiaomi Poco X3. Xiaomi is not a well-known brand here in Ghana, but in Asia and America it's very popular. And according to Gartner.com, this year Xiaomi has sold more phones than Apple. It is the third highest in terms of smartphones unit sales in the world, so it's not a small company at all. The Poco X3, which I'm reviewing today, is also one of their latest phones this year. And it goes for around $280 depending on the variant you buy. But before we get started with the review, our tech news of the day is Apple's Airpod Max. It's kind of old news at this point, and it has been sold out as of this recording. It has been sold out on the Apple website. It's $550, a pair of headphones for $550. That's about $300 more expensive than the best personal wireless headset in the world right now, the Sony WH-1000 XM4. I don't remember. Yeah, the XM4 from Sony. That's around $250. This from Apple, the new headset from Apple, is $550, and people are saying it is expensive. But the fact is, they don't understand the features that the Airpod Max comes with. The Airpod Max, with that you get 65% more intelligence. You run faster than any mammal on earth. When you start playing the music, the artist literally comes to your house and plays the music for you. And when you consider those features, that is when you realize that $550 is not that expensive. And you also realize that I'm just joking and this device is too expensive for the price. Okay, let's get on with our review. The unboxing experience for the Xiaomi Poco X3 it's not anything spectacular, nor is it bad. It's just average, the normal things you get in a smartphone box, except for a wireless headset. That's my only gripe with it. They didn't add a they didn't add a wired headset, even though the phone comes with a 3.5mm headphone jack. That's a bummer. Not a deal breaker, but a bummer, because I know a lot of people who still prefer using wired headsets. Those people would have to buy a third-party one if they should get this phone, because it doesn't come with any wired headset in the box. The phone comes with a clear case in the box, but for some reason Xiaomi chose to make the inside more rough and grippy and the outside of the case slippery, maybe even more slippery than the phone itself. I don't know why Xiaomi chose to do this. However, the case isn't all bad. It does provide some drop and scratch protection for the phone, and even some added water resistance. The build and design. With this phone you get the usual glass and metal sandwich, and that of course means the back is a fingerprint magnet. The phone comes in two colors, shadow grey and cobalt blue. The shadow grey is a bit subtle, and the one I have here is cobalt blue. And the first time I saw the color, I think I heard it shout, "Hey, look at me! Hey, look at me!" It was a bit weird. And I think it does that every time someone sees it for the first time. And it draws a lot of attention whenever I pull out the phone. On the right side of this phone, we find all the buttons, the volume rocker and the power button, which also serves as a fingerprint scanner. Now let's talk about speed. This phone comes with a Snapdragon 732G chipset, 6 gigs of RAM, 64 or 128 gigabytes of UFS 2.1 storage. UFS 2.1 storage is faster than what you find in your average phone. Faster than anything that Tecno or Infinix are providing at this moment, as far as I'm concerned. If you're a smartphone enthusiast or a tech enthusiast in general, then you know that the specs you are getting with this phone means it is very fast. Whilst using this phone, I didn't have any issue when playing games or any performance hiccups, except when switching between cameras. I realized that in the camera app, whenever I switch between the modes or I switch from one camera to the other, it takes a bit of a second, like 1.5 seconds. 1.5 seconds doesn't sound slow, but when you are using the phone and you are switching between the camera, you will notice that delay. And another hiccup I noticed is that in video mode, when I'm switching from the main wide angle camera to the ultra wide angle camera, there are some issues. Sometimes there's a huge delay, and sometimes it doesn't even switch at all. I'd have to restart the phone before it switches between those two cameras. I don't know whether this is a performance issue or a camera issue or both, but it's something I noticed, and I wouldn't be doing my job well if I didn't tell you. So that's the only hiccup I've noticed when it comes to performance. Something that is not fast with this phone, but everything else is really fast. I don't even know whether the problem I got was something that is a problem with only my unit, or it's a problem with Poco X3s in general. I've not seen anyone complaining about it, so I think maybe I have a bad model. I've actually reported this issue to Xiaomi, but as at this moment, Xiaomi hasn't replied yet, so I still don't know what is causing the problem or how to fix it. But besides that, I didn't notice any performance issues. Games were quite smooth, and even in some games, I would intentionally set it to the highest graphic settings, and I'll still get a low end of 50 frames per second, which is quite smooth. So when it comes to speed, this phone is a beast. The Snapdragon 732G will not be as fast as what you get in the highest end flagships, but it can certainly compete. I don't think the higher end ones are that much faster than what you are getting from the 732G. And I was able to play all the games, all the high end games that I downloaded. There was no hiccup when it came to games. The only performance issue was with the camera. And I still don't know whether it's a camera issue, a performance issue. But as long as there is delay, then I think it will be more likely a performance issue. What really helped the games feel very smooth was the 120Hz display that this phone comes with. The display on the phone is a bit on the larger side, 6.67 inches diagonally. That's big for most people. For me, it was quite okay, and I think this is the sweet spot for me because I have larger than average hands, which I've already iterated in other videos. For most people, this may be too big, but for my hands, I don't mind the size. This is actually a good size for me, and I like the size of the display. It's however not symmetrical. You get a little bit of a chin at the bottom, and then there's the hole punch cutout for the front camera. The display is an LCD, and it has a 1080p resolution, so it's full HD+. With LCDs, you'll not be getting the deep blacks that you see from the OLEDs, and it may not be as saturated as what you get from the OLEDs, but it's still quite good in my opinion. It's far better than anything I'm seeing at this price. At this price, I don't think you get a display that is that much better than what you are getting here. The display supports HDR10, which would give you more colors when you are watching HDR10 videos. The fact is, most people don't watch HDR10 videos, and myself, the only time I watch HDR10 videos is when I get a phone that has HDR10 support and I'm testing out the HDR10. But besides that, I never really watch HDR10 videos, and I think most people don't. Yes, so it's nice to have that option available if the need arises. I've already said the display is quite good, but still Xiaomi allows you to switch between 3 color schemes and to choose your own color temperature if you want. So there's a lot of customization if you are not pleased with the look by default. But again, it's an LCD and you not get the deep blacks, and you notice the borders at night. The borders glow when you are watching videos in the dark. With the aspect ratio on this phone, it would have been nice to have an OLED so that in the case where you are watching videos at night, you won't have the edges, the black edges glowing. But you don't get that with this phone. It's an LCD obviously, and so you'll be getting that glow when you are watching videos at night, 16:9 videos. But it's quite good for watching 21:9 videos. When you're watching 21:9, it fills almost the entire screen, and it looks great. And one thing that makes watching videos and movies on this phone even better is the sound. it comes with a stereo speaker setup. So the earpiece at the top gives you sound, while the bottom firing speaker is also giving you sound. So the stereo separation really helps when watching movies. It even helps when you are playing games, like multiplayer shooting games. It's very nice to know where your opponent is standing or where they are coming from. It's not surround sound, but it's the next best thing. Unlike the mono sound where you don't know where anyone is coming from and the whole sound is coming from one side. Having a stereo speaker setup is far better for gaming and watching videos, and it's quite loud. Even outside, I can hear everything quite clearly when I'm using this phone, except it doesn't bode well with people sitting around me in the waiting room when I'm making that much noise. With a very good display and the great sound, the movie watching experience or the media consumption experience on this phone is very good. But that always brings up the question of battery life. Usually the high refresh rate displays like the one this phone has come at the cost of battery life. But with this phone's 5160 mAh battery life is not an issue. With heavy usage, meaning GPS on, Wi-Fi on, Bluetooth on, long hours of gaming, YouTube videos and movies, I could end the day with more than 8 hours of screen on time and 14% of battery left. So for power hungry users like myself, you would have to charge at the end of every day. But for regular users, I think this phone is easily a 2-day phone. That means you wouldn't have to charge it every single day if you are a regular user. Almost everything we've spoken about up to this point has been more about hardware. Let's now talk about the software, the user experience on this phone. The phone comes with Android 10 and soon it will be updated to Android 11, and it has MIUI. The MIUI, in my opinion, is very good. Xiaomi didn't over customize the Android, so it's quite close to stock Android, but you can see that they changed some things like the notification panel and some minor things. It's still subject to personal preference, so you may or may not like it. The only issues I had with it is the fact that it has some bloatware. When you get the phone at first, there are certain apps that you may or may not want and may have to uninstall. I uninstalled all of them, so that's my little issue with the software. But besides that, I didn't have any gripes with the software experience. Even Samsung, the biggest brand for Android smartphones, still has bloatware, so I don't think it's something unusual with Android phones. I wish they would stop, but still, you get bloatware with Android phones. So I don't think it's a Xiaomi problem, but it's a smartphone manufacturer's problem. I think they all want to create their own ecosystem. That is why they make their own apps and attach it to Android, even though there are default apps on Android for whatever the Xiaomi or Samsung apps may be doing. At this point in the video, you may have already noticed the 4-camera setup on the rear of this phone in their semi-rectangular, semi-circular array. The phone comes with a 64 megapixel main camera, a 13 megapixel ultra wide camera, a 2 megapixel depth sensor and 2 megapixel macro camera. From the main camera, we get a lot of good photos. It's quite sharp, obviously because of the 64 megapixel resolution. It is saturated, but not so much that it ruins the photo. The photos from this phone are quite good, and I don't think anyone will have a problem with it. And I can confidently say it is better than anything at this price. The pictures from the main camera is something that can compete with the $1,000 plus flagships, and there are videos online that prove just that. I'm yet to do a camera comparison video with this phone. Currently on GodOku Tech, our reigning champion is the Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus, but I think the Poco X3 is our strongest contender so far, and who knows, may become our next champion on the GodOku Tech camera comparison. But you have to subscribe and press the notification bell to be first to hear when I drop that video. The macro camera, it works. I use it for this photo of my little finger after I voted, and it came out quite nice. But you don't always get good photos with the macro camera. Maybe it's good for looking at things up close, like taking a close-up look at a canker sore in your little brother's mouth. Don't Google canker sores. I've already warned you, don't Google canker sores. Besides that, I don't think you'll be having any usefulness for the macro camera. I rarely use the macro camera, but it's very useful when looking at things up close. The photos from the ultra wide aren't as good as what you get from the main camera, and this is an issue that we've seen from almost all the phones with multiple camera systems, they are not consistent. The look changes a bit, or it may not be as sharp, or the contrast may be different. You know, there's always something different when you switch between cameras. Pictures from the front camera are also quite good. With this phone, I took what I think is the best selfie I've ever taken in my life. I've gotten a lot of compliments from that photo. So I'm really excited to see what will happen when I do the comparison between this one and our current camera champ on GodOku Tech. What you've been watching now, what you are seeing right now, and whenever you see my face in this video, it has been recorded with the front camera of the Poco X3. And whenever you see the road, it's the main camera or the ultra wide angle camera on the back. And it's quite good. I've used it for the whole video, and if it wasn't good, I wouldn't do so. The audio is also what you are getting from the microphones. I'm not using any external mics, and it is very good. Let me know down in the comments if you disagree with me, but I think it's very good. I think this compares to what you are getting with the flagships. Xiaomi didn't joke with this phone. It's a low price, but you are getting something very, very nice. Certainly better than anything from Tecno or Infinix that I know of at this price. Now let's get to the reason why you are watching this video right now, whether you should buy this phone or not. Apart from the camera issue that I mentioned, which I think may be a problem with my specific unit, because I have access to 5 of them and I haven't noticed the issue with any of them except this one. The only reason why I would not recommend buying this phone are things that have nothing to do with the phone itself, like access. This phone is not very common in Ghana because Xiaomi have not marketed it in Ghana, and I think the whole Africa. So I had to buy it from a third party source. The only place I can vouch for is Jake Phones at Medina. I'm only vouching for this shop because that's the only place I found it. Their customer service is not very good and their delivery is quite expensive. But if you really want this phone, that's the place to get it, and here's their number. Besides that, accessories may also be a problem, and if you get a damage, I think you may have a bit of trouble finding a repairer with parts to fix this phone for you here in Ghana. But if you think you can take good care of your phone and you don't mind the hiccup I spoke about, then I think you should go for this phone. And I think there's even a low chance of you getting a phone with the camera issue that I spoke of. For the price, this phone is quite good. Nowadays, Tecno and Infinix are getting around this price, the $250, $280 price. But I still think they haven't made something that is quite as good as what Xiaomi is giving for this price. For this price, you are getting something that is far better than even what Samsung gives at higher prices. Samsung's $400 phone, the Samsung Galaxy A71, that phone is comparable to this one, but it's way more expensive. This is $250, that one is over $400. And the performance and even camera are about the same. With the Galaxy A71, you don't even get great haptics. This phone has a very good vibration motor, and when you press buttons, it actually feels like you are pressing keys on a keyboard, unlike some other phones like the Samsung Galaxy A71, where it feels like something is running inside your hand. With Xiaomi, they gave a bit of attention to the haptics just to make the usage experience a bit better. Thank you for watching this video. Stay tuned for the camera comparison between the Xiaomi Poco X3 NFC and the Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus. Stay blessed. Bye!